Commissioner Mayenza, thank you for joining us. Tell us, how is the coronavirus affecting religious freedom abroad?
Well, we are certainly seeing that it is affecting religious freedom as so many movements have been limited. And so, because of that, we have just put out a new fact sheet called The Global Response to the Coronavirus, the Impact on Religious Practice and Religious Freedom. And it's available at userv.gov. And what we have found is that we're seeing all over the world that gatherings are being limited, obviously secular, but as well as religious. So you have places like, the Mecca and Medina and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia closing. You have the Vatican doing online services. And then you have really religious services all over the world being limited right now.
As nations are responding to the spread of the virus, trying to contain this, why should they be sensitive? Why should they consider religious freedom?
Well, we're reminding countries that really legally they have the obligation to consider religious freedom. In the United States, fortunately, we have our laws and our Constitution that really guarantee that right for us. But around the world, we really look at the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights as being those documents that we call upon that really ensure everyone has religious freedom. And so it's really the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. And so it's not a derogated right, which means it doesn't disappear during war or even public emergencies. So even now, during this time, people still have the right to practice their religion and to have freedom of religion. We do know that the one caveat for that, I shouldn't say caveat, you still have that right, but there are some limits for religious freedom only that are tailored to a specific threat, and they're non-discriminatory. So, things that like now where all religious services are being curtailed because of the pandemic, which would be different. So it's not specific against one religion. And so that's important. And we're just watching and making sure that stays that case.
I wonder, why is trust between religious groups and governments helpful in times like this?
Right, that's a really good question. And faith communities can be really good partners for governments during these times. And we really recommend that rather than curtailing religious rights, that states work with their religious communities on really having a more positive outcome. And so we do believe that would be important.
I think about nations like China that even in healthier times, if you will, restrict religious freedom. Are those violations exacerbated during crises like this?
Right. We're definitely seeing that in China right now that you mentioned. We know over 1 million Uyghurs Muslims are in concentration camps right now. We know that they're working in factories to make up for their lost capacity from all of their sick citizens in China. And we've even heard stories of lung transplants being available within a few hours, which we would expect from their record to be using religious prisoners of conscience from Falun Gong or Uyghur Muslims. And so that's really concerning. We're also concerned about religious prisoners really all over the world that are being kept in close conditions and that they're obviously at a greater risk. So we do know that, as you know, we do a report that every year that we report on countries that we either recommend that the State Department designate as a country of particular concern. And we have 16 of those that we recommend, and then we have 12 that are really tier 2 countries. And those first countries are countries that really have egregious violations of religious freedom that are also systematic and ongoing. And so those countries, we know that there are some countries that are looking for ways to suppress their religious communities, and we just want to send out an alert that we don't want this to be an excuse to do that. Everyone has a right to practice their faith and to not use this specific instance as a way to either clamp down or marginalize people further simply because of what they believe. So this is just so in line with our values, and also a lot of people around the world that stand with us in believing that freedom of religion and belief should be a right for all people.
Commissioner Nadine Mayenza, thank you for the work you do, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.